Well, it's the big story of the day as we reach for just after 20 to 7 on this Wednesday morning. Former President Jacob Zuma's legal team will attempt to secure a recusal today of lead prosecutor Billy Downer. The former president will argue that a lack of impartiality and prosecutorial bias towards him all pose a threat to his right to a fair trial. Now, the plea is seen as a last-ditch effort by Zuma to secure an acquittal. His defense now hinges on proving that Downer conducted his prosecution in a vindictive manner and with no regard for Zuma's rights and dignity. Now, Advocate Modidima Mannya joins us now from Pretoria for the various legal implications of the story. Advocate, it's great to have you with us on the show this morning. Welcome to the AM Report. I want to begin our discussion with the theme that we've been trying to understand here in studio all morning, this issue around prosecutorial bias. I mean, it's expected that, of course, a prosecutor will have the objective to win, but at what stage does that move to prosecutorial bias?
Yes, in fact, it is not the expectation that when a prosecutor takes a matter to court, he or she goes there with the intention to win. The prosecutor goes there to assist the court to reach a proper and fair conclusion based on the tenets of justice. Naturally, no prosecutor will take a matter to court if they don't have a view that the prospects of a conviction do exist. Generally, if prosecutors feel that the matter is not worthy of being brought before a criminal court, they would not enroll the matter. So in that context, they are not going there to win, but they are going there to assist the court to reach a fair and just outcome.
Believe, as their part as a prosecutor, that fair and just outcome is a conviction. Is that fair to say?
It could as well be an acquittal. Remember, the law is very clear that a prosecutor is not going to secure a conviction at all costs. If a prosecutor were to try and do that, that would constitute improper conduct.
Advocate, what do you reckon the court and perhaps Zuma's defense will be using today? Because this is one of the key issues that centers around getting the recusal of prosecutor Billy Downer in this case. What do you think it will be using in your mind to further this narrative that Billy Downer has a single-mindedness about securing a conviction for Jacob Zuma at the expense of Zuma's own rights?
Well, you must remember that this thing started with the former National Director of Public Prosecutions. He was accused of the same thing. McCarthy has been accused of the same thing. I think Piccoli would have been accused of the same thing. And now it is the lead prosecutor, Advocate Bill Downer.
Yeah.
From what it seems, this matter was ventilated extensively in the Supreme Court of Appeal when there was an appeal regarding the stay of prosecution. And the questions about the behavior of McCarthy, who the court did not necessarily say is not improper, but said that the impropriety does not impact on the fairness of the trial. Bill Downer has been one of those who has been very clear. It's a matter of public record. It's a matter on the court record. His position has always been clear that the evidence that the prosecution team has and has considered is such that there is a prospect of a conviction. He has said very clearly that he is mindful of the behavior and the conduct of Mr. McCarthy, but the evidence is untainted. And the prosecution is clear. McCarthy has not influenced the prosecution.
Right.
So I'm very skeptical, but I think you must remember in this country we also have a tendency of attacking those that do their work and live up to carrying out the public interest. I don't see how Advocate Bill Downer, there will be a basis for his removal. Maybe there's something I don't know.
I mean, all of the issues that you've just mentioned, Advocate, also talks to another big card that the defense will be playing in court today, no doubt, and that's the issue of political interference, and that this has all along been a witch hunt.
Well, remember, the fact that the charges were reinstated was as a consequence of a Supreme Court of Appeal judgment that set aside the decision of the former acting director, national director of public prosecutions. This story of the political conspiracy, the interference, if you remember, former President Mbeki also tried the Constitutional Court, which could not hear his matter then, but the Supreme Court of Appeal came back to say, indeed, some of the insinuations and suggestions towards President Mbeki do not have any factual or legal basis. So the issue of the conspiracies, whether involving McCarthy, whether involving politicians, has been exhausted. It's actually a dead horse.
And of course, the court won't be looking to hear about conspiracies today in court from the defense. It's going to be looking for cold, hard facts. Unfortunately, Advocate, that's all the time we have for this discussion this morning. Thanks very much for joining us on the AM Report. Advocate Modidima Mannya is a legal analyst. He joins us from Pretoria this morning.